Blog Talk Radio.
Let's go. It's time to attack. We the smartest, fastest, and most vicious. We gonna put them in their place. We coming out here. We gonna play.
Andy's gonna fire deep. Puts it there inside the 10.
Throw to Superman.
Good route by Edelman. Now they come on a reverse to the near side on a quick run.
What's going on, everybody out there in football land? Welcome to another edition of Cover 2 with McMillan and Purdue. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Dev McMillan. I'm here at the round table with my partner in crime. We got Fred Purdue in the building. Fred, what up?
What's going on, sir? It's we're getting tick tock. We're getting very close to that. Everyone loves that time of year, the draft time. I mean, I'm loving this time of year. Lots of things that none of it makes sense.
Never makes sense around this time of year, but you guys know why we're here. Like Fred said, draft time is right around the corner. So you know the kind of draft coverage that Fred has been giving you guys for the last 5 years or so. So we're going to keep going with that coverage. So this is our 2019 NFL first round mock. Fred is going to give you he's going to give you the players that he thinks each team in the first round is going to take, and then he's going to give you information on who he would take in that particular situation. That's always interesting to see, though, Fred, because, you look at teams and you kind of know what their needs are, but you're always wondering, how smart is their front office? I mean, they get paid to do this for a living, because you always see a lot of teams get it wrong sometimes. And, you have some teams that have needs that still decide to go with, best player available. Then you have teams with needs who, I guess their needs to them aren't as clear as they are to us, because they go with what they think is a need, and everybody else is like, what the hell was that? So, it's always an interesting proposition to do these mock drafts. So you got anything before we get started? What's your thoughts on the upcoming draft? How deep is it? What's your thoughts?
Draft as a whole is a defensive draft. For all of you folks that love this current NFL where everything is offensively driven, if you like quarterbacks, don't watch. Don't listen. I cannot help you. This is a defensive draft. I love this draft. The D-line is very, very deep. There are some bright spots. There's going to be a couple of teams that make some really bad reaches, and typically those teams are probably the same teams you know about, and love, and you probably want to hate. Not talking to you, Tampa. Not talking to you, Detroit. Not talking to you, Buffalo. Who else? Not talking to you, Oakland / Las Vegas, whatever you guys want to call yourselves out there. Anybody I'm missing? I can't really say the Browns because they're kind of getting it right now on paper. Let me repeat that.
Yeah, about to say.
On paper.
On paper.
And Cincinnati, I got to
paper.
put Cincinnati in there because we all know how Cincinnati does. They always do something silly, like draft a corner every year for 5 years, and their secondary is still bad.
All right, well, with that being said, let's jump right into it, and let's start with the Arizona Cardinals. Fred, take it away.
With the first pick in the NFL draft, the Arizona Cardinals, they need a quarterback. They really need a quarterback, even though they drafted a quarterback last year. I mean, it makes no sense to me, but I think Kyler Murray is going to be the guy who checked in at 5'10" and 7'8". A little bit like 205, 207. He has the arm. He has the quick, so he has the legs to get out of dodge. But what do you do with Josh Rosen? Because at this point, do you trade him? What do you trade him for? I don't predict trades. I'm not in that business, because once one trade happens, this whole exercise goes up in smoke. So I think they'll take Kyler Murray simply because they don't believe Josh Rosen is the guy, and they've been saying it from the beginning. So if they've been if somebody tells you this to your face over and over, there's some validity to it. And So it sucks,
But,
Josh Rosen. It sucks.
What the Cardinals have shown me over the last year or two is that they're just not a very patient organization. So
not at all.
I fully believe that this quickly they will go replace the quarterback that they just took. I think that's a good one as well. So that's your pick for them, and that's who you would take if you were them?
If I was the Arizona Cardinals, based off of the coach that you have, that's his guy. That's who he wants. He actually kind of coached him in college for a minute because he was the guy behind Johnny Manziel. It seems like forever ago that happened, but Kyler Murray was a wide-eyed freshman the year after Johnny left. So at Texas A&M, right before Cliff Kingsbury went on to coach that cheat code out in Kansas City when he was in college. But Kyler Murray's the guy.
All right, so let's go to the second pick. We have the San Francisco 49ers, who finished 2018 with a record of 4-12. Where are the Niners going to go on this one?
This one's tough because they've gone defense the last couple of years, and they've hit on guys like Solomon Thomas. You've also you had Reuben Foster. It seems like it works. Reuben Foster is no longer there because he can't keep his hands to himself. But this one was tough because they could go either way. They could go Nick Bosa, or they could go Quinnen Williams. You get the technically sound defensive end that is a third generation NFL player. He might just be better than his brother, or you could go with that animal in the middle and Quinnen Williams from Alabama. I think they're going to go Nick Bosa, having that edge guy, that guy that just eats quarterbacks. He's not a quick twitch guy, but he's very much like his brother, great with his hands. He's healthy now. At least we hope he's healthy now. I'm going with Nick Bosa as well because, quite honestly, I just don't see where Quinnen Williams would fit in that defense. In the middle, they already have their guys with DeForest Buckner in the middle as well. So you don't need that guy. You need a guy on the edge that can bend that edge and get after guys like Russell Wilson, maybe Jared Goff. You need somebody to get after those guys.
All right. And you're in agreement with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Right,
definitely. You got to have the number one rule in the NFL, or the top two priorities in the NFL. Make sure you have a quarterback. You might have one in Jimmy Garoppolo. We don't know yet. We haven't really seen much of him lately. And the other one is make sure you go get after somebody else's quarterback as quickly as possible.
All right, let's go to number 3. Let's go to the New York Jets, who also finished the season 4-12. What are they looking at?
This team is quietly assembling a pretty good roster, pretty good secondary. You got Jamal Adams back there, so you have the linebackers there. You got Le'Veon Bell. You got your quarterback in Sam Darnold. Got a couple receivers. So let's address the defense. Again, remember that number 2 rule about the NFL. If you got your quarterback, you go get somebody that can go get after the other teams. And guess what? Guess who's in that division? Tom Brady. You need to go get after Tom Brady. I mean, I don't know about Josh Allen, the other Josh Allen, but we're taking Josh Allen, the defensive lineman, linebacker hybrid from Kentucky. He's the darling of this class. Everyone loves this guy. Quite honestly, he's a very good pass rusher. Still kind of raw with his hands. I want to see more. I want to see him drop back in coverage a little bit. That'll add to his game. But Josh Allen is the pick.
All right. Then let's go to
Oh, I'm sorry.
the fourth pick.
That was their pick. For me
okay.
personally, if I put my hat on, one, I'm tanking the team because we know how that works, but I'm sabotaging from within. But no, seriously, I would take Quinnen Williams, defensive lineman, Alabama in this situation. Go help out Leonard Williams down there on that defensive line. We all know how fat boys really help out, especially the special ones. I don't really like taking a guy on potential, especially after a position change. Yeah, he had a really good year in Josh Allen, the defensive lineman, that is. But I want a proven product, and I saw what Quinnen Williams did when he completely wrecked ship on everybody's team. Ask Oklahoma how they feel. I think they're still trying to block him.
All right, now we go to the number 4 pick. The Raiders, who finished 4-12 last season. What is John Gruden, Mike Mayock, and the boys going to do?
Josh Allen. This is the one that I think this is where they – I'm sorry. Josh Allen. He would be the one where this is where he should go. This is where he should go. Now, and I say that because you have a defense that you gave up. You gave away Khalil Mack. That's where you have to replace that. So I would take I would take Quinnen Williams. I would take Josh Allen here. They would take Quinnen Williams. Sorry.
So you would okay.
We basically flip flopped. I think
Okay.
Josh Allen should have gone 4, and he actually went 3. So that's how we just flipping them. That's all.
Okay, and all right, and the 5th pick in the draft got the team from down there, the area that you cover, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who finished last season at a surprising for most folks 5-11. Where the Bucs gonna go?
They need help on that defensive line. Gerald McCoy, they've wasted his career after going number 2 overall. So they need to get some speed on the defensive line. JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul isn't getting any younger. Help that terrible secondary out. Go get Montez Sweat. When I see Montez Sweat, I see Jadeveon Clowney light. And I know what you're going to say. He's not that great of a pass rusher, but he got better after the injury. Well, he did everything Jadeveon Clowney did and a little bit more at the combine, and I think he's really risen up over time since that combine, and his pro day he smashed that too. Go help out that defense.
All right, that's your pick as well.
No, for me, I think you can live with the D-line that you have right now with Gerald McCoy. You can squeeze a little bit more out of JPP and Vita Vea. You can squeeze a little bit more out of those guys. But that secondary needs a lot of help. And this guy's going to go a little bit earlier than many want him. But I have a prospect crush on this young man here in Greedy Williams, cornerback, LSU. He has a little issue with bigger receivers, even though he's about 6'1", but he's a lockdown man corner. My current NFL comp player for him is Stephon Gilmore. Yes, the same Stephon Gilmore in year 2 with my New England Patriots really was a very big impact player. If you watch them play, they're very similar players. Long arms, really big, really fast, press corner. That's what you want in this NFL, especially when you're going up against a Michael Thomas, like Mike Evans on that same team. When you're going up against big guys like that, you want a bigger, longer arm corner to really just stifle them. Julio is with Julio, Ridley, and Sanu. So you pick your poison on that one. I'll leave that one up to you.
All right. With the 6th pick of the NFL draft, we have the 5-11 New York Giants. Something you weren't surprised about. I was kind of surprised about it since I picked them to be a little better than that. Giants picked at 6. They've made some puzzling moves over the offseason thus far. What are they going to do in the draft?
With the 6th pick, oh man, this ideally, if they're smart, I'm trusting that these Giants, Dave Gettleman and the rest of his crew are smart people, and they say, Eli, we appreciate what you've been doing for us for the last few years. Thank you for the Super Bowls. It's been great, but we need you to kind of shift your role. You'll be a starter for now. You are officially the bridge quarterback for the next guy in line. The hometown hero, Dwayne Haskins, is the 6th pick. Big, strong arm quarterback. He's not a runner. He is exactly what you want, a pocket passer. In a league now where guys are more runners than passers, Dwayne Haskins fit. Let him sit for a year. Let him redshirt. Only bring him in when it is absolutely a blowout and you have no reason to really have a chance to win this game at any point in the season. I'm taking Dwayne Haskins as well. This team's kind of pigeonholed into that because you can't take Drew Lock. It's way too early. And you can't skip out on the quarterback. We've already seen what happens when you do. You get a really nice running back, and then your team's still trash.
All right, and would he be your pick as well?
Yeah, Haskins is my pick as well.
All right, and with the 7th pick of the NFL draft, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who finished the season after a trip to the AFC Championship at 5-11. They have their quarterback, or so we think. So where are they going to go with this 7th pick?
You have your quarterback, or so we think. I'm not huge on the Nick Foles pickup. I think Nick Foles is a very nice spot starter. I don't think we already know what he looks like as a full-time starter. He's very efficient, and he won't lose you a game. But he's not winning you any games either as a full-time 16-game starter. No disrespect to that Super Bowl win he manufactured. But you know what a quarterback's best friend is? A really good tight end. And that's what this team lacks. They have the running back. They have a couple good receivers that are still developing. They have a very good defense that's pretty locked up on their contract. But they need that tight end. And T.J. Hawkinson of Iowa is the best tight end here. And I think they're going to reach a little bit to get him. But at number 7, you're going to have to reach for him because he won't be there when you come back around in the 2nd round. So you have to go get your guy. If you feel the conviction to go get him because Nick Foles is going to need a lot of weapons.
All right. So would that be your pick as well?
No, that would not be my pick. I'm not willing to reach that far for a tight end when you can get other guys later on in the draft, like a Dax Raymond from Utah State, who's a bit more of he's not a developmental prospect, but you can get him in the 4th round, maybe the late 3rd. I'm going with Jawan Taylor, offensive tackle, Florida. Offensive line has been a problem for this team. They can run the football, but they cannot throw the football with timing, and we've seen that with Blake Bortles. A lot of his issues was the offensive line. Jawan Taylor is more of a right tackle than a left tackle, but he is a nasty run blocker, a very nasty run blocker. Jawan Taylor, Florida is my pick.
All right. With the 8th pick in the NFL draft, we have the Detroit Lions, who finished last season at 6-10. Where are the Lions looking?
Defensive line. This is where you're going to see a lot of movement on the defensive side, so buckle your seatbelt. I'm taking Rashawn Gary for this team. That's what the Detroit Lions will take is Rashawn Gary, former number 1 overall player coming out of high school. He didn't really live up to the billing, but I think someone's going to reach for him, seeing his measurable 6'5", 280. He can play up and down the line of scrimmage, and we know how Matt Patricia feels about defensive alignment. He's bringing that New England Patriots philosophy to Detroit. He needs a guy to not only set the edge, but he also needs a guy that is versatile. That is the mantra of that New England Patriots defensive philosophy, a versatile player. If I can get one guy to do 3 jobs, then he's a very valuable asset. For myself, I'm taking Christian Wilkins, defensive tackle. If we all remember Christian Wilkins from Clemson, that's the first one coming off the board of 4 guys that could easily go in the top 50 picks. Christian Wilkins is a very, very athletic defensive lineman. He'll be able to use his hands, get inside. You can pair him with Ashawn Robinson as well as Deshaun Hand, 2 Alabama linemen that are really coming on and really have found a way to help that defensive line get after people. Plus, you're losing Ezekiel Ansah, so you need to get some kind of pressure, and that may just be up front in the middle of that defense.
All right. With the 9th pick in the NFL draft, we have the Buffalo Bills, who also finished at 6-10 last season.
The Buffalo Bills at number 9, they got their quarterback last year. Now you go give him weapons. This is where the first team to reach, to really, really reach. I think DK Metcalf, wide receiver, Ole Miss will come into play. I think this is a huge reach and a bit of a mistake. I'm not big on receivers that only run about 2 or 3 routes. He can run a go, he can run a post, he can run a slant. He's not all that. He has very little wiggle, but he's drawing comparisons to Calvin Johnson. I'm not huge on him. I liked him as a freshman in college, but not since. He's had the neck injury. That's going to be an issue. Josh Allen can throw it a mile. He fits exactly what Josh Allen would be able to do. You also have Robert Foster on the other side, so you have your complementing wide receivers. That would help him out greatly. I personally would take Ed Oliver here. You need someone to replace Kyle Williams in the middle of that defense now that he's retired. Ed Oliver's a little bit on the undersized side. He's only about maybe 275, 280. That would be great back in the day when you had guys like Warren Sapp who would be able to penetrate and be those guys, be that interior speed rush defensive tackle. But the NFL is really a little bit different now. You want guys that are a little bit bigger but do what he does. Ed Oliver he drew comparisons to Aaron Donald early in his career. We knew he would be a first-round pick at some point back when he was a freshman, but we didn't think he'd go. We didn't think he'd have all the criticism that he has so far. His junior year wasn't what we expected, but he'll go high anyway.
All right. And you're in agreement, right?
Yeah, Ed Oliver is my pick. DK Metcalf is who the team will take.
Okay. With the 10th pick, we have the Denver Broncos, who were also 6-10 last season. The Broncos just did something at quarterback. I don't know, how much credit we're giving them for that. We've given John Elway a lot of flack for, his moves at quarterback. So where do you think the Broncos are going to go with the 10th pick?
Quarterback, and more quarterback. You need a guy. Drew Lock fits the bill here. Strong arm quarterback. Let him sit, please. Drew Lock's player comparison, his ceiling might be Pat Mahomes. His floor would be Nick Foles. If you get something in the middle of somewhere in the middle, you have at least a solid starter. John Elway has not had any luck drafting quarterbacks. Quite honestly, his quarterback history, outside of finding a way to get Peyton Manning, has not been all that great. And quite honestly, I think Drew Lock might be a mistake because the one thing about Drew Lock when you watch him on film, in that Missouri offense, they really had him lock on the receivers. It was a one-read offense. It's like, that's your guy, throw the ball to him, make it quick, and there's no real adjustment. That's what I saw on film. I'm not really a fan of it. Maybe coach you can coach him up, let him sit for a year. I've always been a believer in that. They may rush him out too early, but the consensus is for me as well as the team, they're taking Drew Lock.
Okay, and who do you like at that pick?
Drew Lock as well.
Okay. And with the 11th pick, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, 6-10 as well. Where the Bengals looking?
The Bengals have to replace Vontaze Burfict, the dirtiest player in the game. You really need to get a little bit more athletic on the defensive side. There's 2 Devins in this one. Sorry, dude, you're not in this draft. I'm sorry to tell you, you cannot collect a check, but your namesake will be, and there's 2 of them. Devin Bush, Michigan, Devin White, LSU. Devin Bush is a little bit on the undersized side, 5'11", 230. He can run with the best of them. Devin White is about 6'1", like 240. He was the heart of that LSU defense. Both of you can't go wrong with either one of these. The team will take Devin Bush. I will take Devin White.
All right. Now at 12, we have the Green Bay Packers, who were 6-9-1 last season. Where the Packers going?
New coach, same quarterback. I'm not calling him the baddest man on the planet anymore. That still belongs in New England. That guy still belongs in New England. But they need to protect that quarterback so he doesn't get hurt again. Cody Ford, offensive tackle, offensive guard, Oklahoma, did a very good job. And he may have not even been the best lineman on that team. That may be next year. Cody Ford's the pick for me as well as the team.
All right. And with the 13th pick, we have the Miami Dolphins, who finished last season at 7-9. What they're doing in South Florida.
The Miami Dolphins need a lot. They are in complete rebuild mode. They are going to take defensive linemen from Clemson, Cleveland Farrell. Another one of those long-arm, athletic defensive ends. They're just ridiculous athletes. That team was just sick on the defensive side of the ball. For me as well, I'll take Cleveland Farrell. You have to if you're not going to take a quarterback in the first round, and I don't project trades, so if you're not going to get your quarterback in the first round, maybe not even in the second round, you better get after whether it's Sam Darnold, Tom Brady, or Josh Allen. You better get after one of those guys, and that's a good start.
All right. Where are we? Number 14. We got the Falcons, who were also 7-9.
The Atlanta Falcons. You have a team that really has struggled on the defensive side of the ball. Offense has never been their problem. They have an embarrassment of riches. Their running backs get injured and it doesn't even matter. They just find guys. So we can focus on the defensive side of the ball. This is where the team will actually take Ed Oliver. They can pair him with Grady Jarrett, very similar guys. You can have that interior push. Vic Beasley hasn't really been who we thought he'd be, so they need to get some kind of a push up front. As far as myself picking for this team, if I'm picking for this team, I will take Christian. I will take Rashawn Gary at this point. He would be the athletic freak you would want to pair with a Grady Jarrett, because you can at least have that push on the inside as well as on the outside. Dexter Lawrence was very close to taking that pick as well as Jeffrey Simmons, the injured Mississippi State defensive lineman. But I'm just not willing to take a guy that high who had an ACL injury. You just don't know what you're going to get from him. But had Jeffrey Simmons been available and not injured, he would have gone. He would have definitely gone.
All right. So at 15, we have the Washington Professional Football Team. This last season at 7-9. Where are they going in Washington?
I loved this team last year when it came to how they played their brand of football. They ran the football. They reinvigorated Adrian Peterson's career. But the only problem was the quarterback guy. Alex Smith was playing some of the best football we've seen from him. It's unfortunate that he had the broken leg. But they have to go quarterback here, not only because of the age to the quarterback, but also you need a guy that can take over, because all they have right now is Colt McCoy, Josh Johnson, and Mark Sanchez. Do you really want to go into the 2019 season with those guys at under center? Probably
no.
Haskins, Locke, and Murray are gone. This team will find – this is where you'll see that reach at quarterback. Daniel Jones has been up and down draft boards throughout the process, from anywhere from number 1 all the way down to possibly a 4th-round pick. But they need a quarterback, and he's the spot. This is where you'll see Daniel Jones go. They don't really have a choice in the matter either, so I'm taking Daniel Jones as well. This team is kind of pigeonholed into the – it's kind of like one of those teams that get pigeonholed into a player, and everyone knows it based off of how the board falls. Ideally, you would rather trade out of this spot, but again, we don't project trades here.
All right, and at number 16, we have the Carolina Panthers, who finished last season at 7-9.
At 7-9, this Panthers team really struggled protecting Cam Newton. You have a really nice running back in Christian McCaffrey. You lose Devin Funchess. Cam Newton had shoulder surgery. You need to protect him. Greg Little is the top offensive lineman at tackle for this for this board, on my board at least. Ole Miss has had a lot of good players. You know why? Cha-ching, but now he's going to make a little cha-ching. The Carolina Panthers take Greg Little, offensive tackle, and I agree with this pick. I would take him as well.
All right, and at 17, we have the New York Giants back on the board. This is a pick from the Cleveland Browns, who finished 7-8-1 last season. What are the Giants going to do with their second pick of the first round?
Trading Odell Beckham Jr. was a needed move. It's sadly it's addition by subtraction, but you have to move on from him and his antics. Eli Manning and really this team in general has done a very bad job of protecting their assets. So what do we do to protect our number one asset if we're going to go with Eli, or if we're, as this draft says, we're going with Dwayne Haskins, we need to protect him. Jonah Williams, offensive tackle from Alabama, started from day one as a freshman on the right side, moved over to the left side. I think his best spot will be guard at some point, but they'll give him a try at tackle. Jonah Williams is the pick the team will make. Andre Dillard with Washington State, long arm, dancing bear, offensive tackle. That's what they need if they're going to have a quarterback who is a little bit more mobile than Eli, and that's not really that difficult. But that's where I'm going, is Andre Dillard.
All right. And with the 18th pick in the NFL draft, we go to the Minnesota Vikings, who finished the season 8-7-1. After a trip to the NFC Championship game the year before. What are the Vikings going to do?
This is where, again, we're going to have a bit of a flip-flop situation. The Giants, they took Jonah Williams. The Minnesota Vikings will take Andre Dillard. My pick for the Giants was Andre Dillard, so the Vikings will take Jonah Williams. They need this team needs to protect Kirk Cousins. They need to be able to run the football. Jonah Williams, again, long arms, really big dude who just attack the defensive linemen. You need to protect your quarterback, especially against that monster that's in Chicago and across the board, but really Khalil Mack. But guess what? If he doesn't work out at tackle, he'll be one of the best guards in the league almost instantaneously. So that's where you need to protect in the interior.
All right, and with the 19th pick in the draft, we have the Tennessee Titans, who finished last season at 9-7.
The Tennessee Titans need a ton of help on both sides of the ball. Quarterback is not an option this year. You have to stick with Marcus Mariota. There's not a guy that's good enough at this point. It's a little early to go with a defensive back. Eric McCoy, center guard from Texas A&M, was just dominant this year. Texas A&M has had a pretty good run at offensive linemen. You need to protect your quarterback. You need a quarterback of your offensive line. He'll be able to step in and be a solid starter from day one.
All right, and that's their pick and your pick?
Yes.
Okay, and at 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They finished the season 9-6-1. Offense kind of in flux with the loss of some of the best weapons in the NFL. Where is Steelers going to go with pick number 20?
This is one of those flip-flop type picks where we had their division mate, the Cincinnati Bengals. They took Devin Bush, so the Steelers will take Devin White. I took Devin White for the Bengals, so we'll be gifting Devin Bush to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need somebody to replace, unfortunately, one of the better linebackers in the NFL. I don't think he's coming back. He's a very big inspiration to people in Ryan Shazier. But if dude doesn't need to come back to a football field ever again unless he's being supportive, coaching, but not playing. This is their replacement.
Cool. And with the number 20, with the 21st pick, we have the Seattle Seahawks, who finished the season at 10-6. What are they doing in Seattle?
Russell Wilson just said, I want a contract by April 10th or else. Well, this is the or else. Give him a little bit of help. Help him out over the middle. They gave him Jimmy Graham a couple years ago. That didn't work out too much, and I think they're going to reach just a smidge here. But Noah Fant, the other tight end at Iowa, most teams only get one. They have two very different skill sets. He's more of the true big body receiver. He won't block a soul for you, but he is probably Hockenson is going to be the number one elite guy, but it's easy here. This one's easy, very easy. Help Russell Wilson out. Give him a safety guy.
All right. And at 22, we have the Ravens, who also finished the season 10-6. Baltimore. What you going to do, Baltimore?
Baltimore, you need help offensively. You need a ton of help offensively. Lamar Jackson was the quarterback they secured. I am not a fan of this. I've actually heard different media personalities call him, I'm just going to call his name out, Shitlock, sorry. Say that Lamar Jackson is the Black Tebow. I don't agree with him too often. He's the Black Tebow. He can't throw the football. His mechanics are bad, and we saw a lot of these problems in college. So they're going to be running the football, but guess what? He throws the ball pretty well deep down the field. They need a guy that's a field stretcher. N'Keal Harry is the guy they go after. Big body receiver, decent hands. He can help you on special teams. I say if you're going to go all in on big body receiver, go with the potential. Go with Hakeem Butler, 6'6", 215 pounds, has decent hands, really fast. He's the comparison that we want to see to Calvin Johnson because he's the big body receiver that goes up and gets it. If you have not seen Hakeem Butler, he's my other prospect crush. I don't get too hyped up about many players, but Hakeem Butler with the right players around him, right quarterback. And he'll be the number one from day one because there is nobody else there but Willie Snead, and Willie Snead is not scaring anybody. So Hakeem Butler is my pick.
All right, and with the 23rd pick in the NFL draft, we have the Houston Texans, who finished last season at 11-5.
The Houston Texans. This team is a very good team, not a great team. They need help up front. Protect Deshaun Watson. That is the number one goal. Chris Lindstrom, offensive lineman from Boston College. I can't stand you, Houston, because that is the guy. That was my third and final prospect crush of this whole first round. He is the guy I wanted to give to New England, but out of not trying to be biased and just drop my guy there. Best player available. He can play up and down the offensive line. He'll probably start out at guard. He can go to tackle as well. One of the best offensive linemen in this class. Typical New England, Houston, Tennessee, whoever has a former New England coach type of player.
All right. You're in agreement with that pick?
Definitely.
All right. Then number 24, we have the Raiders back on the clock. This is a pick to them from the Bears for that monster on their defense that you talk about all the time. Of course, the Bears were 12-4 last season, so that's why this pick is sitting down at 24. What do the Raiders do with this Bears pick?
At number 24, this one's a tough one because, and I hate doing this to them, I have a rule about running backs. You never take them in the first round. You just don't. They don't win you Super Bowls in the first round unless you are a team with an established quarterback, an established defense, an established head coach. There are way too many requirements to take a running back in the first round, and this is not the place to take one, but you need one. He's the most dynamic player on the field right now, and that would be Josh Jacobs. We saw what he did to Oklahoma. I think some guys are still picking themselves up off the ground. Josh Jacobs is their pick as well as my pick.
Wow. They got you to agree with a running back in the first round?
Sadly,
right.
when you have a team that's pigeonholed, it stinks because you have to fill the needs of a team that is a more offensively based team, and defense we can worry about that as we go. But you have to go get somebody that can take the pressure off of Derek Carr, because we know how Derek Carr is. He's wildly inconsistent. And 1 minute you'll say he's Super Bowl caliber, and then next thing you know, he's throwing picks left and right.
I hear you. And with the 25th pick in the draft, we have my Philadelphia Eagles, who finished last season at 9-7. Where do you think the Eagles are going to go in the draft? It might be time to replace some linemen. Some people getting old. It's definitely time to address the secondary.
Definitely have to address the offensive line. You can do that later in the draft. There are a lot of good linemen left. But secondary, I must say it again for the people in the back. The secondary needs to be addressed. Best player available, best three corners available are DeAndre Baker, Georgia, Rock Ya-Sin, local guy from Temple, as well as Byron Murphy, Washington. We've already gone the Washington route with Sidney Jones. Unfortunately, the injuries hurt him. But we're going with DeAndre Baker. He's not a superstar type corner. He's not going to run a 4.3. He's not going to get a ton of picks. But guess what? He's super consistent. He's solid. And that's what you need. You need a guy that can be a rock on your defense, be there for anywhere between 7 to 10 years. That's what DeAndre Baker is. He can help you on special teams, and that's the most underrated part of any NFL team. If you can help somebody's team on special teams, you'll stick around for a long time.
All right. And with the 26, their pick and your pick?
My pick would be Rock Ya-Sin, bigger corner. The small corners have to go in this division. When you have these bigger receivers, you have these faster receivers, you need a guy that's a little bit more feisty on that defense. DeAndre Baker is good, but I'm not willing to put him on this team with this scheme. They need a little bit more physicality on the defensive side.
At the 26th pick of the draft, we have the Indianapolis Colts finish the season at 10-6. What are they looking to do in Indy?
Defensive lineman Dexter Lawrence, best player available. He can play up and down the line of scrimmage. He's 6'5", he's 340. He's a complete monster. I mean, he is everything you want in a defensive lineman. He's a very good he's a good person. Never had any character issues. We had the one issue of him having a sliver of some substance in his body, but NFL teams don't care about that. It was a one-time thing. He might have took something over the counter that he didn't know anything about. It was an anomaly. We can throw that away. If it ever happens again, you can cut him and you can come talk to me about it. But the Colts are in perfect position to take a guy like this. They don't need any more help on offense. They have the weapons they need on offense, and up front, now it's time to focus on that defense and start getting after other teams. Stop making guys like Marcus Mariota look like Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Right. All right, and with the 27th pick in the draft, we have the Raiders on the clock with their third pick of the first round. This pick is via the Cowboys in the Amari Cooper trade. And, of course, we know the Cowboys finished at 10-6 last season. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Cowboys finished 10-6 last season. Where will we go here with this pick?
Defense, again, get after other quarterbacks. You've already got one guy to get after him with another. If you can see, you can't replace one guy. If you can't replace him with one person, and that is Khalil Mack, go ahead and replace him with waves and waves of other guys that can get after quarterbacks. Brian Burns, Florida State is my pick as well as the team's pick. Long, athletic defensive lineman, linebacker hybrid type player, stand-up linebacker who will get after quarterbacks. He's a bit on the thin side, but I think once he gets in the NFL weight room, he'll put on some weight and really start to wreak havoc a little bit.
All right. And with the 28th pick in the draft, we have the Freudian slip.
Uh-oh.
We have the Los Angeles Chargers,
15 yards.
who finished the season at 12-4 last year. Who the Chargers going with?
Chargers don't really have that many holes on both sides of the ball. This is one of those picks where you bolster a defense. Draymond Jones, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. You can't get Bosa, but you can get his running mate. He can play both outside at end, but he also can play in under the defensive tackle as well. He's that under guy. He's that under rush guy that can really, really disrupt an offensive line. And when guys like Patrick Mahomes, that's the guy you're drafting to beat at this point. You don't care about anybody else in that division. Pat Mahomes is the guy you have to attack. Make him uncomfortable. Draymond Jones helps you do that.
All right, and that's you?
Yeah, that's my pick as well.
All right, well, speaking of Patrick Mahomes, on the board now, on the clock, number 29, we have the Chiefs, who finished last season 12-4.
Okay, so you have the secondary, and the secondary. That's the one issue this team had. They were getting blown apart by any and everybody. Heck, Tom Brady threw all over them, and the Patriots couldn't throw the ball well throughout the year. Byron Murphy, Washington, really fits the bill here. Tall, physical corner. That'll help out Kendall Fuller. That will be their pick as well as my pick.
All right. And number 30, we have the Packers on the board with their second pick of the first round. This pick is from the New Orleans Saints, who finished the season at 13-3. Where the Packers going to go with this one?
This pick is one of those picks that you really, really can help your quarterback. You lose Randall Cobb. Okay, that's fine. We'll go get a better version of him. Go get Hollywood Brown. Yes, the cousin of Antonio Brown, but without the attitude. He's about 5'9", 5'10", but he can take the top off of defense.
There's Hollywood.
Yeah, I know. He might become a headache, but guess what? Aaron Rodgers is the baddest man on the planet, and according to him, he can make anything happen. So they need somebody that can stretch the field. You already have Devontae Adams. He's a nice number one. You need a guy that can stretch the field. Let Aaron Rodgers show off that arm talent that we've always been accustomed to seeing. And that is my pick as well as the team's pick.
All right, we're down to the final two picks of the first round, and we know who these teams are. We just watched them in the Super Bowl. We're going to start with pick number 31. That is the Los Angeles Rams, who finished the season at 13-3, Super Bowl runner-ups. Where the Rams going to go?
The Rams have two issues, corner and defensive line. You have Sue's gone. This is where you take Jeffrey Simmons. He tore his ACL. It was unfortunate. He was going to be a top 10 pick. This is a steal for this team. Draft him, redshirt him, protect his knees, and let him loose after a redshirt season and going into 2020. That's their pick. That's my pick.
All right. And last, but certainly not least, at number 32, have the now defending Super Bowl. We're not going to say defending because the season hasn't started. They're not defending anything. The reigning Super Bowl champion, New England Patriots, who finished the season at 11-5 with the Super Bowl win, their sixth title overall. Where the Patriots going to go with the last pick of the first round?
Ideally, quarterback would be a great look here. Develop somebody but we can wait on that just a smidge. We might can wait on that to the second, third round. There's some guys you can wait on. But the safeties, the back end of that defense is getting pretty old. Devin McCourty's it seems like he just got into the league a couple of years ago, but now he's getting a little long in the tooth. That's where you go get a guy like a Jonathan Abram from Mississippi State, 6'1", 205. He is an enforcer over the middle and a ball hawk over the top. He is the perfect type of safety you want in this system. He can play man. He can play man in the slot. He can play over the top as a deep middle safety. He can knock your head off playing strong. He might not be the most talented safety, but he fits what the New England Patriots want. Versatility. Let me say it for the people in the back. Versatility
it is. And there you have it. 32 picks from the first round of the upcoming NFL draft. It is the Fred Perdue first round mock. Fred, before we get out of here and sign off, you got anything you want to say to the people?
This draft is going to be, for all my draft nerds out there, if you love breaking down the film, like looking at these players, seeing how they fit, where the measurables help them, this is the draft for you because you're going to love where these players go. If you're looking for the highlights and big catches and super accurate quarterback play, this isn't the best for you. This is not for the weak at heart. This is going to be a good one for all 7 rounds. I can't wait to dive into a little bit more when we go a little bit deeper and go into our 3-round mock, and then when we go into the all 7, I will not be giving you all 7 via podcast. Might have to just drop that one on the website.
No doubt. So everybody just make sure you stay in tune and in touch with everything we're doing here because we're going to bring you right up to that NFL draft. And you'll get all of that information from Cover 2 with McMillan. You can find that on the War Room Sports YouTube page. You can also hear our preparation leading to the draft on our flagship show, The War Room. We'll be doing that live every Thursday leading up to the draft from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, Fred will join us on there too. So just check us out. WarRoomSports.com. That's the hub where you can get everything and all the information you need on whatever show you want to hear. Listen to archive episodes of Cover 2, of Quick Slants, of the War Room, and anything else we got going on. Fred, one last time for the people in the back, let them know your Twitter handle in case they got any questions for you after they listen to this episode or anything they might want you to talk about on the next episode. Let them know how to holler.
You can catch me on Twitter, Fred Perdue CFB, talking draft, talking a little bit of college football. We're coming close to that whole spring football thing. I might have a couple spring games I might be taking a trip to. But right now we're focusing on the NFL draft. So we got a couple weeks left until it all goes down. Your favorite team drafts your favorite player, or maybe a team drafts somebody you just can't stand. So stay tuned. Definitely stay tuned.
Most likely that. All right. We have it. This has been another episode of Cover 2 with McMillan and Perdue. For my partner Perdue, they call McMillan. Y'all know the drill from here. Don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war of ignorance. We'll see you chumps on top.
Going up to LaFell. Touchdown. The big screen. Sanchez over the middle. Touchdown. Play action. Cutler wide open. Johnsonbacher.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.